Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. Big breaking news now is coming out in regards to Daniel James from Swansea. He's set to complete his medical today with Manchester United. Obviously, he's going to be our first signing for this summer. Obviously, our first signing as well under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So this is very good news indeed. Obviously, we do know there's been a bit of a delay on the move, obviously, based on his father passing away a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, this had made Daniel James withdraw from the Wales camp, but this is very good news anyway. I think an initial fee of around £15 million has been agreed. I think there is add-ons included in the deal, which does potentially rise up to around £18 million. So I think we are getting him for just under £20 million, Daniel James. Quite a few teams had come in right at the final hurdle for him. It does mention in one of the media outlets that Monaco came in right at the final hurdle. It also said Brighton came in right at the final hurdle. Also, Leeds were on the brink of getting him, back in the January transfer window, and also Everton inquired about his services. But I think from his own perspective, he does prefer the move to Manchester United. Does Daniel James? But obviously, he's going to fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend young players to Manchester United this summer. Obviously, Daniel James is only 21 years of age. He's a Welsh international, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But I think his attitude's supposed to be very good. Of course, his attitude's supposed to be really good. So that's one good thing about Daniel James. Obviously, he's only got a year left on his deal with Swansea. I think he played about 39 games for Swansea last season, if I'm right. So I think he just played under 40 games. But looking at, he's a low expectation. He is a cheap acquisition, of course. But the question is, has he got the abilities? Has he got the minerals to make it to the highest level, Daniel James? So we do potentially he graduated from Swansea's youth system. Obviously, last season was only his first season in the senior squad. Initially, Swansea got him from Hull City back in 2014. I think Swansea paid around £72,000 for his current services. So he did really well last season with Swansea. But I have got some reservations about him. He's not really good in the air. He's not really good at tracking back, but he is actually good at cutting in from the flank. He can score goals. Obviously, he primarily plays as a winner, and he is supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side. So I do presume that's where Manchester United will put him on that left-hand side. Like I said, I think now with Anthony Martial, because obviously, mainly Martial plays on the left, I think we will probably, rotate Martial and we'll put him more in a central position. I also know that Rashford can play out wide, but I think obviously, Rashford is supposed to be more effective, centrally. So this is very good news of what's coming out in regards to Daniel James. And, £15 million is a reasonable figure, because like I said, it's not always about spending big on players. It's not always about, getting them well established players, because it doesn't always, guarantee you success. And obviously, we've got a history of spending big on players, especially in recent years. Obviously, prime example, Lukaku, 75 million. Obviously, Paul Pogba, of course, £89 million, our most expensive signing. So Daniel James is our first summer signing, which is very good news indeed. Like I said, we are getting a spending spree of around, is it 200 or £250 million? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's made it clear, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club, and obviously wants to fulfill them areas where he thinks Manchester United are lacking. But we have got to get the right recruitment this summer, because analysing our recruitment policy is very poor indeed. Obviously, we didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, didn't get anyone last summer, because last summer the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. But like I said, Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club. Like I said, I think £200 million should be enough to get around 5 players in, depending on how we are with our recruitment. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on trying to bring the right players who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks are going to fit the history of the club, and he's also working on trying to keep his imperative players at the football club. Like I did currently say. So yeah, Daniel James to Manchester United now is very imminent, of course. So that is very good news. Set to have his medical today. An initial fee of £15 million has been agreed with add-ons included. So I think it rises up to around 17 or 18 million pounds, of course. But yeah, he's taken a huge step. He's Daniel James, coming from the Championship, to the Premier League, and I hope he does exceed expectation levels at Manchester United. But time will tell. So I want to give you some now additional information about Wilfred Zaha. I haven't updated you about Wilfred Zaha in quite a while. I think the last time I updated you about him was it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, because he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, because I think Wilfred Zaha said, was it about 3 weeks ago, he wants to leave Crystal Palace. So he made an admission. He said he wants to leave Crystal Palace. I think the main factor reason why is because he wants to be playing in Champions League football, and obviously wants to take his footballing career to the next level. So reports have come out today saying that Wilfred Zaha has revealed he has received a lot of direct messages over the potential return to Manchester United. I think he would be open to making a return back to Manchester United. Wilfred Zaha, obviously remember we had Wilfred Zaha of course when he was younger. He had a 2-year spell at Manchester United, but never really got the chance. And I think he only made about 4 first team appearances in his 2-year spell with Manchester United. Wilfred Zaha, it actually was Alex Ferguson's last signing that season. Obviously, before he announced his retirement at the end of that season. I think we paid around £10 million for him, of course. But initially now, I think the quoted fee is around £80 million that Crystal Palace want. I think some reports did say that Crystal Palace want around £100 million for him. It also says that Arsenal have also been interested in Wilfred Zaha, but I think it did say a couple of weeks ago Arsenal are reluctant, to pay what Crystal Palace are demanding. I think Arsenal are only willing to pay up to £40 million for his services. So Wilfred Zaha has become an integral part of Crystal Palace's squad, since he signed for them permanently in 2015. He's thrived under Roy Hodgson, and he has done really well. I think he signed a contract extension last summer. He extended his contract with Crystal Palace until 2023. So obviously he's got about 4 years left on his contract. Like I said, he's 26. He's in his prime. He has still got a lot of development in him. I think Wilfred Zaha can play as a forward. He can also play as a winger. I think you can put Wilfred Zaha on the left. You can also put him on the right. But I think actually the majority of his goals for Crystal Palace have actually have come in that central position. So the majority of his goals for Palace have come in that central position, but you can play him as a forward and you can play him as a winner. Well, initially he did begin his career with Crystal Palace, Wilfred Zaha, so he has actually spent the majority of his career with Crystal Palace. Obviously then came to Manchester United for a couple of years, never really established himself. Then obviously went back to Crystal Palace on loan, had the loan spell with Cardiff. Obviously, he's played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is keen on reuniting with Wilfred Zaha, and then obviously he signed permanently for Crystal Palace in 2015. I think it did say if Crystal Palace do sell him, we get 25% of any profit what Crystal Palace get from selling him, due to the sell-on clause on his current deal. I saw Wilfred Zaha make the return back to Crystal Palace, so I do think we benefit from it. But yeah, there has been quite a few teams in there for him. I think also Tottenham have expressed their interest in him in the past, but he's well Premier League proven, he's Wilfred Zaha, and he knows the Premier League well. He's initially learned his trade in the Premier League, so there has still been there is a lot of talks going on about Wilfred Zaha. But I think he does want to leave Crystal Palace, but I don't know where his next club's going to be. But he could reportedly make a return to Manchester United. So that is the latest news to update you on that. But like I said, I do believe our aspirations in the next couple of seasons is going to be that top 4. Like I said, our expectations next season's not going to be to win the league. Of course, I think our expectations next season is probably to finish in the top 4, maybe win the Carabao Cup, maybe win the Europa League, but it won't be to win the league. Of course, because I think we're a number of years off, for mounting any kind of title challenge up. Obviously, at the moment, City strides ahead of us, Liverpool strides ahead of us, and it's very essential, that it's very imperative and essential that we catch up with the likes of City and Liverpool. So we have got to get the right recruitment this summer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because obviously none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. No, we've been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously, as I said, a lot of money has been invested into the club. We've had different managers with different philosophies. I think £700 million has been invested into the club. Just over £700 million, I think, in all the managerial areas. And and I think the majority of that money has gone on, the wrong players. It's gone on the wrong players, with the wrong mentality. So we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. So we have got to get the right players to Manchester United this summer. Like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in Champions League football for next season. So there's so many players on Manchester United's agenda. So could possibly, Wilfred Zaha be making a return back to Manchester United. As I updated you about Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon, I think he's moved to Manchester United. He's looking very imminent, which is very good news. I think as I updated you on my previous video, Manchester United have scheduled a meeting with Sporting Lisbon, I think, for next week, to get a deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes. I think we are set to get him in a deal worth around, what, £70 million, or is it £71 million? Potentially now, according to a ball of the Portuguese press, now we are emerged as the front runners to get the player's signature, because I think now City have actually reportedly dropped him out of the race. They are no longer interested in Bruno Fernandes, according to the Metro, even though it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. It did say City were only willing to offer around £47 million for him, but it did say City were willing to offload a couple of their players as part of the deal. So that's obviously not a players plus cash deal. So it did the other week. It did say City were emerged as the front runners to get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. But now we are in the ascendancy. I think initially we wanted to get a deal finalised sometime this week for Bruno Fernandes. But obviously I think we've scheduled the meeting for next week, so it should be fully finalised next week. But I really like Bruno Fernandes a lot. Obviously, he's a priority target for Manchester United. He's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time. But yeah, it'd be fantastic for Manchester United. He's only had 24 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him, a hell of a lot of development in him as Bruno Fernandes. Like I said, he had a lot of experience of playing in Italy, when he was younger, the likes of San Pandora and underneath. So looking at it from a financial point of view and from a Sporting Lisbon perspective, they're going to make a huge profit on the player. If Man United get him for around £70 million, because, Sporting Lisbon got him from next to no, from San Pandora. Was it back in 2017? I think they got him for around £8 million. But he's done good in his couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon. And obviously, Bruno Fernandes is going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. He's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. His initial release clause is around £86 million. But obviously, Manchester United and Manchester City confirmed, we're not willing to trigger his release clause. So we are actually willing to offer more than Manchester City for his current services. But I do really like him a lot. He came out the other week and gave us an update on his future, did Bruno Fernandes. He gave us an update on his future, did Bruno Fernandes. And, he did... basically says he's unsure about his future. He's had a good couple of years with Sporting Lisbon, but obviously, he hasn't ruled out a move to the Premier League. So I think he will be playing his trade in the Premier League next season. It is going to take his footballing career to the next level, which is very, very good news. But I do think he'll exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. And what he's been doing at Sporting Lisbon in his couple of years, I think he'll replicate this in the Premier League. And obviously, he'll bring us them goals that we need in that midfield. He can also provide. So very, very good midfielder indeed, primarily an attacking midfielder. And if Paul Pogba is to leave Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, would actually be the adequate replacement. But there is actually no possibility now that Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku, could actually remain at the football club, like I said, based on the huge transfer fees we've put on them. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on as well, trying to keep his imperative players in the club. Obviously, one of his imperative players is Paul Pogba. Obviously, as I said, if we do sell Pogba, if we do sell Lukaku, it will help us with our rebuilding process, and of course, it will help us with our transition. So, like I said, we're getting £200 million, but obviously, it's going to amount up to a lot more than that if we're cashing for Lukaku, if we're cashing for Pogba. It's looking very imminent that David De Gea is going, because I think another problem with Manchester United, we have far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, Rashford's in the final year of his deal. We have been in talks of getting Rashford a new contract. I don't think Manchester United are orchestrating on selling Marcus Rashford, because we still believe he's a long-term solution for Manchester United, even though he's been very inconsistent in the last couple of months. His performances have been way below par, but I still believe he's a long-term solution. And Rashford's only young, he's 21, he's still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. And I know his performance has been inconsistent in the last couple of months, but like I said, we have been in talks of getting him a new contract. Like I said, Man United are not intending on selling Marcus Rashford, and I think it's going to take Rashford a couple of years, to get him to that level, of course, where he does want to be. I think Real Madrid and Barcelona have expressed their interest in Rashford in the past. Juan Mata, it's looking very imminent, that Juan Mata's going to be leaving the club, because obviously the club have failed to agree a contract extension for him. De Gea, it's looking very likely that David De Gea is going to be leaving Manchester United. Obviously, we've failed to agree a contract extension for him, and he's refusing to sign a new contract. Reportedly, De Gea wants around £350,000 a week. Manchester United are reluctant, to pay up to £350,000 a week for David De Gea, so we're not willing to meet his wage demands. In his current deal at the moment, he's on about £200,000 a week, is De Gea, so he potentially wants a £150,000 pay rise. De Gea's been at Manchester United 8 years. He's been a good servant, of course. He has made over 300 appearances in all competitions, won everything he did domestically. Been here since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we paid around £17 million for him from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. But I think his likely destination is going to be PSG. I think now PSG have stepped up their interest in David De Gea, because obviously it's been confirmed that Buffon is going to be leaving PSG. But also Real Madrid have been long admirers of him, but I don't see him going to Real Madrid if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, reflecting back in 2015, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him, but due to the fax machine, a deal never materialised. Also, Juventus have been in there for David De Gea. But I think, he did say PSG are preparing to put a bid in for him of around £60 million. Obviously, Manchester United do want to cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer next year, because obviously, that would be a calamity. We do know his full value for the goalkeeper is worth around £100 million, but because he's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world, but we're not going to get £100 million because he's only got a year left on his contract term as David De Gea. So I think he'll probably end up making the move to PSG. Also, PSG are willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. So yeah, I think David De Gea is going to be going. I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to actually buy a goalkeeper, to replace De Gea. I think he wants to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. Like I said, I know Romero did good in the FA Cup games there last season, but I don't know if he's reliable enough yet to become our number one goalkeeper. Obviously, Dean Henderson, we've got Dean Henderson, but like I said, with Dean Henderson, he's too inexperienced at the moment. I think Dean Henderson, needs to gain a little bit more experience. Obviously, he has been on loan at Sheffield United, but I think we need to loan him out for another season, to gain him a bit more experience. So we do need to buy a goalkeeper, in my opinion, to replace David De Gea. But like I said, the players that are looking likely to leave Manchester United, obviously, Darmian and Rojo should be going. An estimated guess, we can get around 25 or 30 million pounds for them. Obviously, Darmian and Rojo have enjoyed difficult times at Manchester United. I think Rojo's career has been really badly affected at Manchester United, mainly with the injuries he has sustained. Obviously, hasn't really been first choice, and obviously, Darmian obviously hasn't really been given the chance. Obviously, he's been here since Louis van Gaal areas, Matteo Darmian. I think from Darmian's preference, he would make the return back to Italy, to be quite honest with you, because obviously he had a lot of experience playing in Italy, when he was younger. So we have got to get rid of Darmian and Rojo. We do know Valencia is leaving. Obviously, he's definitely leaving. Obviously, he's served 10 years at Manchester United, and been a really good servant to the club, Valencia. And I don't know where his next destination is going to be, whether he's going to be going to Ecuador, whether he's going to be retiring, I do not know, but we know he's leaving Man United. So obviously, we're going to need a replacement for him at right back. I presume probably Sanchez, should be leaving as well. Like I said, I haven't heard much more additional information about Sanchez. And I heard about it a couple of weeks ago. I was actually, updated you on saying that, Juventus and Milan were in for him. Sanchez's agent, of course, had been in Italy. Obviously, we can't get rid of Sanchez permanently, based on his substantial wages. He's on 400 grand a week. Potentially rise up to 500 grand a week, based on the image rights and the bonuses and all that. And I think his wages are having a really bad effect on the football club. And Sanchez is 30. Obviously, anyways, he hasn't got a future at Manchester United, of course. He has not got a future at Manchester United. And I think he's become injury prone since he's come to Manchester United. He has sustained a number of injuries, but he did really, really well at Arsenal. He did really, really well under Pep Guardiola when he was at Barcelona, but he hasn't replicated this form at Manchester United. So he hasn't been the fundamental player as we all thought he currently would have been. So we definitely need to get rid of him. But as I've been updating you on a regular basis as well about James Maddison from Leicester, obviously now he's a priority target for Manchester United. It's James Maddison. Now he's only 22 years of age. He is British, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has emphasised an interest in quite a few British players. But now reportedly he's a priority target. Reportedly it does say Manchester United have made contact, with James Maddison and his current representatives over the potential move to Old Trafford. Reportedly Leicester want around £60 million. So don't get me wrong, Leicester are in no rush to sell him. But Leicester reportedly want around £60 million for him. I think Manchester United are more than happy to pay £60 million for James Maddison, because he's a really, really good player indeed. He is an attacking midfielder. I think the likes of City, Liverpool and Tottenham have been linked to him for a number of years. I think they've been tracking him, since he was a teenager at Coventry, because obviously, he grew up in Coventry, did James Maddison. But I do really, really like him indeed. Obviously, Premier League proven. Obviously had a year. He's obviously had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Did really well with Leicester last season. Scored 7 goals, provided 7 assists. Also, created more chances than any other player. So really, really good indeed. If Leicester do get £60 million for him, obviously, they'll gain around £40 million profit, because Leicester got him from Norwich last summer for £20 million. I think he had a good couple of seasons in the Championship with Norwich. Leicester, I think he also signed a 5-year deal with Leicester, so he's under contract with Leicester till 2023. He's James Maddison. Obviously, I think he initially did begin his career with Coventry, but I think he also also had a loan spell with Coventry. He also had a loan spell in Scotland there with Aberdeen. So reportedly now he's on Manchester United's agenda. And there's been positive news coming out about him in the last couple of days, saying we have emerged as the front runners to get the player's signature. I think James Maddison has got some reservations about joining Manchester United because we're not in Champions League football for next season. But I think obviously even if James Maddison doesn't leave Leicester this summer, obviously at some point he'll want to take his footballing career to the next level. So there has been a lot of talks about him going on. Want to give you a bit more additional information about Matthijs de Ligt for Marks, of course, as I've been updating you on a regular basis. Because obviously we know it's been widely spoken about throughout the course of this window. He has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, and we do know so many teams have inquired about his services because it's looking very imminent that Matthijs de Ligt is going to be leaving Ajax this summer. I still think it remains uncertain where Matthijs de Ligt will be applying his trade next season, because he has not yet made a decision on his future. I think he has been urged to make a decision on his future sometime this week. It came out about 3 or 4 days ago saying he was set to inform Manchester United about a decision on his future in the coming days. But obviously, he hasn't made a decision on his future as yet. So, like I said, there's been so many teams that have been in there for him. Matthijs de Ligt is aware of the speculation. He has said he's got several offers on the table, and he'll obviously pick the best one. He did say he has suggested his preferred option, but he obviously hasn't been revealed which club that is. So we're doing the likes of Barcelona, Manchester United, Liverpool, City have previously been in from Juventus, PSG. They're all the teams that are in for Matthijs de Ligt. But we do know, at least in the last couple of months, that Barcelona have been in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for the player. Obviously, it only came out from Sky Sports all the other week saying that he was set to join Barcelona, was Matthijs de Ligt. So it was looking very imminent. He was supposed to go to Barcelona. I still think Barcelona now at this moment are considered as one of the favourites to get a deal over the line for him. But obviously, it came out the other week saying that talks had stalled, between Matthijs de Ligt and Barcelona, because obviously, they struggled to come to an agreement on the terms. Obviously, Barcelona are not willing to, meet the financial demands of obviously, what de Ligt wants and what his agent Raiola, currently wants. But obviously, Barcelona have already got a deal over the line for his current teammate Frankie de Jong. Obviously, Barcelona paid £75 million for him, or it might have been 65, or it would either 65 or £75 million for him. They agreed this fee with Ajax. So obviously, Frankie de Jong is going to be going to Barcelona. So I don't know where Matthijs de Ligt is going to be going. It did say Manchester United have offered him a lucrative contract, worth up to £350,000 a week. Obviously, this equates to almost £17 million a year. And if this was to process, this would make him the highest paid teenager in world football, also make him one of the highest paid players at the club, of course. But I think now, according to the Metro, it says Matthijs de Ligt has ruled out a move to Manchester United, because obviously I think the main reason why this is because we're not in a Champions League football for next season. So I think this is why. But now, according to recent reports, Liverpool have stepped their interest up in Matthijs de Ligt. And I think reportedly Matthijs de Ligt's agent Raiola has actually urged his current client to join Liverpool over Manchester United and Barcelona. So from Raiola's perspective, he wants Matthijs de Ligt to join Liverpool, of course, and I think the main reason why Liverpool are in for him, because obviously, Liverpool don't need a central defender, but I think the main reason why they're in for him, because obviously, Liverpool have got Virgil van Dijk, who Liverpool played £75 million for, 15, 16 months ago, was it? And he's addressed their defensive deficiencies fantastically well, and obviously, Virgil van Dijk and Matthijs de Ligt, know each other really well, because obviously, they're both Dutch, they both play in the Netherlands national team, so Liverpool are in for him. Like I said, Liverpool have got other centre-halves than, Virgil van Dijk, they've got Dejan Lovren, they've got Joe Matip, they've got Joe Gomez, so I don't even think Liverpool even need another central defender, but Liverpool are in for him. In terms of the transfer fees, Matthijs de Ligt is going to cost you from between probably £70 to £75 million, because that's what he's initially rated at. He's Matthijs de Ligt, and I think he did say Juventus had put a bid in for him of around £75 million. But if Matthijs de Ligt goes to the Premier League, it's going to take his footballing career to the next level. Obviously, he's so far spent the entirety of his career with Ajax. He's been in Ajax plays since the age of 8, the age of 9, and he has progressed up the ranks with them fantastically well. He has been in Ajax's senior squad, since the age of 17, because he made his senior debut at the age of 17, got named captain at the age of 18, and he has become an integral part of Ajax's squad. Obviously enjoyed a very good season last season with Ajax, winning the domestic double with them for the first time in nearly 2 decades, winning the Eredivisie title, and of course progressing to the Champions League semi-final. So Matthijs de Ligt is currently going to be leaving, but we don't know where he's going to be playing his trade next season. So I think he's set to make a decision on his future sometime this week, or it may be at the start of next week. But I will keep you up to date. But now his current agent Raiola, from his own preference, he wants him to make the move to Liverpool. So yeah, I still believe Manchester United are in for him, but the Metro have just said he's ruled out the move to Manchester United. Well, initially it said we'd ruled out a move for him the other week. We'd withdrawn our interest in Matty Stillet, because I think we was actually very convinced he was set to join Barcelona. Obviously if he was to come to Manchester United, he would be assured first team football at Manchester United. So first team football would be much easier for him at Manchester United than it would be for him, of course, at Barcelona. But we'll see what happens anyway. And obviously we need a central defender. Like I said, I think we need two central defenders, and I think we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. But Matty Stillet, only 19 years of age, and got a hell of a lot of development minimum. And I think he won the Golden Boy Award last year, but I think he became more of a first team starter in Ajax's squad, when Davinson Sanchez left for Tottenham back in 2017. So I think we've actually emerged him as a priority target. So we will keep you up to date, what's happening, with Matty Stillet, because obviously more things is currently going to update. Like I've been giving you an update regularly about Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, there's a possibility chance now that he could remain at Manchester United. Romelu Lukaku, obviously, based on the huge transfer fee that we've put on him, because obviously reports were coming out towards the back end of last week saying that we want around £80 million for Lukaku. So basically, we're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we initially paid for him from Everton back in 2017. Obviously, we paid £75 million for him, plus several add-ons, including the deal of around £15 million. So that had risen the deal to £90 million. He's got 3 years left on his deal, and he's on about 250 grand a week, is Lukaku. But obviously, as well, this could be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan. Also, this could be the Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. This could be another stumbling block due to the financial fair play rules. Reportedly, Inter Milan have got to raise around £40 million before the end of this month to meet financial fair play regulations. Like I said, this could be another stumbling block of Lukaku making his move to Inter Milan. But we do know Inter Milan have been heavily linked to him. Obviously, Antonio Conte was appointed Inter Milan's new manager last week, and he's identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. But initially, it said everything else had been agreed. It said Inter Milan have agreed the personal terms with Romelu Lukaku. It said they also agreed a 5-year contract, worth around £7.5 million a year. I think bonus requirements involved. And it said Inter Milan were willing to meet his wage demands. And it did say Lukaku, as he said he was willing to take a pay cut. Obviously, they haven't come to an agreement on the initial fee. But like I said, I don't think Inter Milan will be willing to pay up to £80 million for him. But it came out last week saying that Manchester United have told him that he can leave the club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed he's served his 2 requirements at Manchester United, and obviously he can't remain at Manchester United, Lukaku, because obviously if he's at Manchester United next season, he's going to be assured first team football, because we know mainly Rashford's first choice ahead of him. Obviously, Lukaku's been at Manchester United 2 seasons. I think he scored about 42 goals, but he obviously enjoyed a difficult second season with the club, did Lukaku. He did well in his first season. He scored 27 goals in all competitions in his first season, did Lukaku, but didn't really replicate that in his second season. But like I said, it came out the other week saying that Lukaku was in Italy. He held negotiations with Inter Milan's representatives over getting a deal over the line. But Lukaku's agent revealed a while back that his future is very, very open indeed. So I think we need to get rid of Romelu Lukaku. I think it will be very beneficial for us. It will help us with our rebuilding process. It will help us with our transition. But I think to be quite fair, that I think Icardi has been offered as part of the deal for Romelu Lukaku, and I would take Mario Icardi because Inter Milan want to get rid of him. But to be quite fair, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is keen on bringing Mario Icardi in. It obviously came out the other week saying that Inter Milan were willing to offer £30 million, plus Ivan Perisic as part of the deal. But I don't think Man United are willing to go along with this, because we know that Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. He was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho, but obviously now he's no longer a Manchester United target. And anywhere, Ivan Perisic, would not fit the transfer strategy, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, because obviously he wants to bring young players into Solskjaer, and obviously Ivan Perisic is not young now. He's 31 years of age, and he's aging up, of course, and so Solskjaer is basically not intending on bringing any short-term players in. It did say if we are willing to let Lukaku go as part of any swap deal, I think we are willing to, we are demanding, Inter Milan's Milan Skriniar, because Milan Skriniar has been a long-term target for Manchester United. He just recently signed a new deal with Inter Milan, so he's under contract with them until 2023. Obviously, I think he's 24 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. But yeah, so like I said, I wanted to get rid of Lukaku anyway because I've got reservations about him. You know, I'll credit him though. He has still his ratio still very good in the Premier League. He's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League as Lukaku, and his pedigree is very good in the Premier League. But I've got reservations about him. His first touch concerns me. He's a big game battler. His link-up play, his footballing ability. He's not really good in the air. He hasn't got that endless potential. So I've got so many strong reservations about him. So we have got to get rid of him. So reports were coming out yesterday. I think as he updated you, and I think I updated you on the previous video. It did basically say that we have identified Frankfurt's Sebastian, what's his name now? Sebastian Haller as a potential replacement for Lukaku if Lukaku does leave Manchester United this summer. So Sebastian Haller plays for Frankfurt. I think last season he scored like 15 goals in 23 league starts. He helped also Frankfurt, secure 7th in the Bundesliga. I think it did say that Manchester United did instruct scouts, to watch Sebastian Haller, during Frankfurt's Europa League 1. Obviously, Frankfurt, got to the semi-finals of the Europa League, but obviously, ended up getting knocked out by Chelsea. I think, Sebastian Haller has attracted interest from the likes of Norwich in the past, also Everton in the past. I think he's been at Frankfurt a couple of seasons. I think before he was at Frankfurt, he had spells with FC Utrecht. I think he also had a spell with Auxerre. So there has been talks about him going on. So whether Frankfurt, would be willing to sell him or not, I do not know, because obviously, they've just lost Luka Jovetic to Real Madrid. Real Madrid, I think, got him in a deal worth around £62 million, and I think he signed a 6-year deal with Real Madrid. Did Luka Jovetic, and obviously last season, they were a fantastic partnership. Luka Jovetic and Sebastian Haller in Frankfurt's squad. But he can score goals, can this Sebastian Haller? But I don't really know much about him. I know he's 24 years of age. I think he's about 6'2", 6'3", so he is very, very tall. So I think we're only willing to go in for him if Lukaku, of course, leaves Manchester United. So there was a lot of talks about Sebastian Haller, going on yesterday. And I think as well, we also need a centre defensive midfielder, and that's one of the priority areas where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. Like I said, there is quite a few on our agenda, because like I said, at the moment, Scott McTominay is too inexperienced. Even though Scott McTominay towards the back end of last season, proved himself very, very well. He was playing between the lines well, but too inexperienced at the moment. Matic is too inconsistent. I've got strong reservations about Nemanja Matic, and I think Nemanja Matic is too slow, plus he's aging up. And also, Fellaini left back in January, so we definitely need a centre defensive midfielder. So as you all know, Thomas Partey, he's been spoken about for the last week at least. Obviously it said Manchester United and Arsenal have inquired about Thomas Partey's services. Now he is a central defensive midfielder. Reportedly now he wants to make the move to England. I think this is actually stemming from his father. He said that Thomas Partey wants to make the move to England. He's available for a reasonable figure. I think his initial release clause is around £43 million in his contract with Atletico Madrid. I think he's under contract with them until 2023. To be quite fair, I don't really know much about Thomas Partey, but I know it's Man United and Arsenal that have been in for him. He's 25 years of age, so he has still got him a lot of development in him. He has spent the majority of his career with Ajax, I think, progressing them up their ranks and all that, and he has become an integral part of Ajax's squad, so he's obviously been spoken about. Like I said, Declan Rice has been on our agenda. I really, really like Declan Rice a lot. Very, very young. Only 20 years of age. Got a lot of years ahead of him as Declan Rice. Like I said, he's British as well. He's one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets, and he's exceeded expectation levels with West Ham. He's been at West Ham a number of years now. I think he's been in their senior squad a couple of years. He's well Premier League proven. Initially learned his trade in the Premier League. I think he has got a contract with West Ham till 2024. He signed this new long-term contract back in December of last year, but I do like Declan Rice. I think it did say probably it cost them around £50 million if West Ham, of course, were willing to sell him. So yeah, he's been on Manchester United's agenda. He's primarily a central defensive midfielder. I think he can play as a centre back, but I think he's primarily a defensive midfielder. Obviously, Idrissa Gueye has been spoken about, and he's been on Manchester United's agenda for quite some time. Idrissa Gueye. Initially, Everton don't want to sell him, but I think Everton have come to accept the fact that he wants to leave Everton. of course. I like Idrissa Gueye. He's 29 years of age. He has still got quite a bit of a development in him, but you can't complain about complain about Idrissa Gueye's stats. He's completed the most tackles across Europe. He's one of the most successful tacklers in the Premier League, and he's Premier League proven. I think Everton did say the other week, was it a couple of weeks ago, Everton were demanding that they wanted around £35 million from him, so potentially they're demanding just over 5 times more than what they initially paid for him from Aston Villa, because I think they paid around £7 million for him from Aston Villa. So he has been at Everton around 3 years. I think he's made 134 appearances in the Premier League. Obviously, the majority of these appearances coming at Everton. I think he's made about 99 appearances in the Premier League for Everton. Still got 3 years left on his contract with Everton. Obviously, Everton did everything to keep him out of PSG's clutches back in January, because obviously, PSG were in for Idrissa Gueye back in January. So he's obviously not on Manchester United's agenda. So obviously, he's the defensive midfielder. So there's quite a few on our agenda, as you all know. Obviously, as you all know, as well as I've been updating you on a regular basis about Adrien Rabiot from PSG. I haven't read up about him lately, of course, but I have been updating you on a regular basis. There has been so many teams that have inquired about Adrien Rabiot's service, because it's imminent that he's going to be leaving PSG. Obviously, the beneficial thing about this is obviously no team has to pay any transfer fee for Adrien Rabiot, because obviously, as a free agent in the summer, he is coming to an end of his contract, but he is going to be leaving. But obviously, at the moment, it remains uncertain where Adrien Rabiot, will be applying his trade next season. Manchester United and Arsenal made initial contact over the potential move. I think also Liverpool have been in for him, Tottenham, Juventus. I think Barcelona were in for him before. I think Everton have also, held negotiations, but I can't see Adrien Rabiot going to Everton, because obviously Everton haven't got any European football. But yeah, so many teams have been in for Adrien Rabiot. But there was a lot of reports coming out from a lot of Spanish outlets last week, including Mundo Deportivo, and they basically said, we offered Adrien Rabiot a lucrative contract, worth up to £170,000 a week. It did also say a signing-on fee was included of around £10 million. So obviously, that equates to around £170,000 a week. But yeah, it did actually say Manchester United are emerged as the front runners, to currently get the player's signature. But yeah, so many other teams have been in there for him. Maybe Arsenal, may be keen on reuniting with the player, because actually Adrien Rabiot flourished under May's guidance. So many teams have been in there for him. He's 24 years of age. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. I think a lot of people have got strong reservations about his attitude, because I think he has got an attitude problem, Adrien Rabiot. But I think he can play in various positions in that midfield, but I think he's primarily a central midfielder. Is Adrien Rabiot. I think he has spent the majority of his career with PSG, graduated from their youth system and all that. He's been in their senior squad since 2012. He's been at PSG 8 years as Adrien Rabiot, so he's been a long-serving player there. I think he also had a spell with Manchester City when he was younger, so he's had experience of playing in Manchester. But he hasn't played for PSG since December of last year, because obviously, he had been withdrawn from the PSG squad from Thomas Tuchel, based on his refusal to sign a new contract. I think a few teams have opted out of the race for Adrien Rabiot, based on his salary demands, plus the signing on fee and all that. But yeah, he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. I think from his own perspective, it did say he wants to make the move to Liverpool the other day, does Adrien Rabiot. So he's potentially on Manchester United's agenda. So there's so many midfielders that have been, that are on our agenda. Obviously, Manchester United and Manchester City are battling it out for Joe Felix from Benfica. I think Benfica have lately made it clear if they are willing to sell Joe Felix. He's basically, his 105 million release clause has to be triggered. But I like Joe Felix a lot. He's very, very good. I do believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world, can Joe Felix. Maybe not emulate into like a Ronaldo or Messi or Neymar, but I believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world. He's only 19. He's got obviously a hell of a lot of development in him. I think from Joe Felix's perspective, he's aware of the speculation, but I think he still remains uncertain about his future. But his release clause is 105 million. They want it triggered if they're willing to sell him Benfica. But I think Manchester United and Manchester City are willing to trigger his 105 million buyout clause. But Man United have been scouting him for a long time now. I think the rumours have continued to persist there since January. I think also Real Madrid have been in for him. I think Liverpool also had a bid turned down for Joe Felix back in January. But like I said, very good player, primarily an attacking midfielder, can also play as a winner, can also play as a striker and a secondary striker. So very, very versatile indeed. So I'd love us to get a deal over the line for Joe Felix as well, because it's looking like Bruno Fernandes is coming in. looking like that Bruno Fernandes is coming in. I think it was also a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving Smalling a new long-term contract, giving Jones a new long-term contract, because they have been two long-serving players at the club, but like I said, they're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years. Comparing them, I think Smalling's a much better defender than Phil Jones, but I think they are the problematic players, and this is why I said, we need two central defenders, of course. With Eric Bay, I think he might be here next season, but I think we should get rid of him if we can, because I think his career's been affected with the amount of injuries he's sustained, his fallout under managers. But I think, if we are willing to sell him, we will look to recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him back in 2016 from Villarreal, of course. It was actually one of Jose Mourinho's first signings. Obviously, Mourinho bought 11 players, just spent under £400 million, of course. But Eric Bay burst into the scenes very well when he came into the Premier League, don't get me wrong, he really, really did. But I think, his career has been really, really badly affected. And he doesn't even initially get in the team now, Eric Bay, of course. So, yeah, lots needs to be sorted out this summer. But the main part of this video, was to give you an update on Daniel James. We've initially agreed the £50 million fee, potentially add-ons included, which rises it to around £17 or £18 million, set to complete his medical today. So, obviously, it's going to be our first signing, and obviously our first signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Moreira. And it's about time, to be quite honest. If it wasn't for his father, passing away, I think the deal would have been probably finalised there by now, but obviously there's been a bit of a delay on the move. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.